Okay, so I'm going to do the opening monologue on Kenneth Murray Jr., and then we'll get to the Kenneth Murray Jr. stuff and what he told me on the show in a bit. Hang with me. We're about to do live radio, y'all.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Today on the show, gonna talk with Mike Leach about Alex Grinch. Gonna talk with Matt Campbell, or I'm gonna run audio from Matt Campbell talking about about Alex Grinch. Goodness me. Justin Fields apparently hasn't won the starting job for Ohio State, and I don't believe a word coming out of Ryan Day's mouth. Gary Patterson's gonna talk about his defense, and oh yeah, Jim Harbaugh opened his big fat trap, and I'm gonna bring Patrick in. Tell me how he feels about that as a Michigan fan later in the show. But first, OU Daily Sports editor Caleb McCory found the Kenneth Murray Jr. story we all missed and should have been looking for. Not the one we bang on, but the one his teammates ride for. A car swerved in front of Kenneth Murray Jr.'s car while he was driving himself and his girlfriend home from church. He stopped. The driver ran out to help a lady who was on the ground and unconscious, and another woman was standing over her. She looked dead to Murray when he got there. Then she began to make panicked noises while bleeding from the head. That's when he realized the driver and the passenger in the car he stopped in front of were deaf. And then he instinctually dropped to the ground, told his girlfriend to call 911, and began performing CPR. Minutes went by. The passenger and Murray's girlfriend watched on frantically as the woman stopped moving, stopped responding to CPR. Minutes more while he pumped, blew air, pump, air, pump, air. And then breath, breathing. The paramedics arrived moments later to relieve Murray. Later, he left knowing he'd saved her life. Took 2 weeks for him to tell his father, Kenneth Murray Sr., what he'd done. McCurry had the journalistic mind to ask Kenneth Murray Sr. where son had learned how to perform CPR. Sr. told McCurry Jr. learned how to save a life when he was around 12 or 13 years old while working summers as a counselor at the REACH program, restoring and educating adults and children with hope in Texas. That's where he learned CPR in a class. He's 12, 13 years old. Didn't shock Sr. to find out what altruism his son had performed 2 weeks earlier. Sr. told the Daily, that's the kind of way he is. He just does things and keeps moving. He's not big on credit. He's not looking for any glory or anything of that nature. And yet, some question whether this man, Kenneth Murray Jr., has it in him to play the storied position of middle linebacker at Oklahoma, even after 2 seasons of doing exactly that. After a season where he had the most stops at the position since Curtis Lofton. The job description for the Mike is to act, lead, and play the next play like it's your last. Did Murray not see a car swerve in front of him? Did he not immediately assess the situation? Did he not lead by making the call to make the call? Did he not stay with the play when I'm sure he thought this woman might die in front of him and in his arms? Did he not act as if he'd done what anyone in his position would have done when we know many would have panicked and quit? Did he seek glory? No. He sought to do his job. When the world came knocking at Kenneth Murray Jr., he knocked back. That's an Oklahoma middle linebacker. And I will never be more proud of Kenneth Murray Jr. than I am right now. So when you see him play this season, and your fanaticism questions if he has the resolve to play the mic, pull this story and remind yourself this is the kind of man who plays for OU and represents you. And be proud. When we come back, gonna talk with Mike Leach about Alex Grinch? Well, because I got an excuse to do it. You're listening to the RJ Young Show on Your Sports, the sports animal. Now let's talk to Kenneth Murray Jr.
Expect us to be better. Expect us to improve. We have goals that we have in place, which are in-house goals, but expect us to achieve those goals. I mean, I expect our coaches, according to them, that's the standard, and that's what we have to uphold to.
How high can this defense rise?
I mean, the sky's the limit, to be honest. We just have to get the mentality right. We have to get everybody on the same page, and we just got to go out there and do it.
What is different about what Alex Grinch brings to the table for you guys?
Mentality. I think that's the biggest thing that he's harped on the most. It's just the mentality and just getting guys out of the mentality of making excuses. There's no excuse in the world for why we shouldn't uphold ourselves. And once we get that excuse stuff out of the way and understand it's not about making excuses, go out there and play with great effort, then we'll start seeing change.
Is the talent there on defense to be an elite defense or at least a top 20 defense?
Yes, sir, for sure, most definitely. I mean, Coach Grinch agrees with that, everybody agrees with that, but it comes out to us going out there and not making no excuses and going out there and knowing that no matter what, like that standard is the standard and we have to live to that. So Coach Grinch is, put in mentality that we can go out there and try to make the offense play on our terms. And once you get 11 people to be able to do that, then we'll be able to make strides and make difference.
Kenneth, congratulations. You were named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a baby compliment. It is preseason. I really don't care about that. Obviously, my goal is the postseason. When it comes to awards and stuff like that. So, if I get in the postseason, I'll be happy. But at the end of the day, I'm focused on my team. I'm focused on us getting better as a defense. And like I said before, it's a preseason, so it don't really matter. So, it doesn't really hold weight.
Alex Grinch relied on you in the spring and in the summer. What ways has he relied on you? Has that specific that standard and also just some of the things
I think that's really been one of the biggest things. And when I first talked to him, the first day that me and him actually sat down and talked, those were the kind of things that we talked about. He presented the standard to me, presented the mentality to me. I fully agree with it 100% because, I tell people this all the time, if you're a dog, you love playing for Coach Grinch because Coach Grinch is a dog. And so he put that mentality in front of me. I completely agree with it 100% that you have to have that to be a top defense. And, me and him, and the rest of the leaders on this defense have been attacking it and trying to get everybody to buy into it. Mentality and urgency. Definitely trying to hone in on the mentality and also just the urgency to get things done and also, just the no excuse thing. With him, there's no excuses. There's no excuse in the world that makes it okay for us not to be the Oklahoma defense that we know we all should be, that we should be at the University of Oklahoma. So, he's harping on us getting back to that standard, and we're going to get back to that standard because he's going to hold us to that.
When you mentioned that mentality you were talking about earlier, is there a play or maybe an example from last season that he turns on to say, like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing on the field? Is there, like, an example you can give of something y'all are trying to really get rid of, something specific?
I mean, you can look at all the tape, to be honest. If we want to be honest, you can look at all the tape and see on tape things that we do that weren't great defense. And those are things that we have to eliminate. Those are things that we have to change. Those are things that we have to improve on if we want to be the defense that we say that we want to be. It all comes down to playing great fundamental football and playing with great effort. But, you can turn on the tape. It's no one specific event or one specific play that you can just turn on. But you can turn on the tape and see a bunch of specific things that we need to improve on for us to be a better defense.
You've lost Caleb Kelly to injury. You lost Curtis Bolton to graduation. Talk about this linebacker core. How do you think it's shaping up for the season?
Oh, I'm excited. We got some guys that really can go. Deshaun White is a young guy who's really came on. He had a chance to learn a lot last year, and he's really came on. Brian Meade is a guy who's really working hard. We have guys like Ryan Jones, who's a really athletic guy who's really working hard. So I mean, it's a bunch of different guys in our group that can play. And so, you know, obviously you hate losing Caleb, but, you know, it's next man up. And so I'm excited about the group. I think this overall summer, I said we've been working really, really good, really, really hard. And so I'm excited to see, you know, how we take the next steps as far as going into camp and stuff like that.
Offense has been carrying you guys for 3 straight years. Are you guys ready on defense to start carrying more of the load for this team's success?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's something, the mindset that we come in with every year. I mean, obviously we have a phenomenal offense. Obviously our offense is great, but as a defense, you know, it's never our mindset to go into a game or even a year like the offense is going to carry us. So we're definitely, you know, ready to make improvements on what we need to improve on and get better.
From that standpoint, how much does the 2 playoff losses kind of weigh on you guys? Because whether it's fair or not, people say that if the defense had been even just a little bit better, you guys might have the playoff win by now.
I think you take it all and you look at it as what it is. I mean, football is a team sport, so you can't say that it's specifically on one specific part of the team. I mean, we all could have done something better in that game to get us to that national title game. You know, the Rose Bowl game, we were up big and we didn't finish. That's what it was. The Orange Bowl, we came out too slow. They got a big on us early, and we couldn't come back. So we have to play a completely dominant game on all 3 sides of the ball for us to get to that national title game.
Kenneth, did you need Coach Grinch to point out the problems with the mentality, or did you already know there were problems?
I feel like that's something that I already knew. I feel like that was something that I knew that we needed to change and that we were working on changing and getting around to the guys. But it's definitely great when you have the head man come in and have that mentality, have that dog mentality that we're going to go out there and we're going to attack. And no matter what it is, no matter what nobody else says, I'm going to ride with y'all. And we're going to go out there and we're going to do this thing. And I think it's great when you have a guy on the defensive side of the ball who has that kind of mentality, that hunter's mentality, being a defensive coach, because that's all it is on defense. We're going out there to hunt. So when you have the head defensive coordinator who has that mentality, who's enforcing that mentality and letting you know, like, okay, like this is what it's going to take. Ain't no other excuse that's going to be acceptable for us not meeting where we said we want to be. So I'm excited, you know, between him and all of the new staff, my new coach, Coach Brian Odom, you know, he's somebody that's, I call both of those guys my biggest blessing, because they just came into my life and have instilled, you know, new things for the defense as a whole. But, you know, for me, it's just been constantly learning new things every day. I'm able to pick their brains, so, you know, I think it's been fun.
How did they shock you guys into that mentality? Was there a moment where, I mean, you can say we had a dog mentality, but how do you make guys believe it? How did he make guys believe it?
I don't think it's about more so believing. I think you got to take actions speak louder than words. And so, you know, once we start backing those words up with actions, then that's when we start getting some. So Coach Grinch, you know, he obviously came in and instilled the mentality and said, this is how we're going to do this thing. Then they set out a plan on, like, this is how it's going to get done. You know, this is how the way we're going to practice. This is the way we're going to do this. And so once you start taking those steps, then you slowly start to see improvement. But you know, obviously getting everybody to buy in is the biggest thing, you know, because not everybody's not the same. Not everybody's a football fanatic like me. Not everybody just loves to watch tape all day. Not everybody just loves football. Not everybody's just all bought into it. So once you get everybody bought into the idea of what we're trying to do as a defense, then you have something. Everybody's different. Everybody wants different things. Everybody learns different ways. So you just have to figure out ways to get everybody to buy in.
How much of it's talent? It's great to have mentality, but you got to have ability and talent, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think we have the talent. I mean, Coach Grinch has said it multiple times that we have the talent.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Coach Grinch, when we're in those meeting rooms and he's talking to us, he believes in us. But it comes down to mentality and not making excuses. To be honest, that's really what we need to hone in on, and that's what we've really been working on to improve.
Do you have any pet phrases or that kind of in your head all the time you can hear Coach Grinch? You know, what does he like to say?
He has a few. I'm gonna keep them to myself though.